Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita Study Circle. We are live on YouTube also, and devotees who are joined on StreamYard. Hare Krishna, Kaushik. Hare Krishna, Vinay. Hope I am audible to all of you. Hare Krishna Dev, who are joined on YouTube, also Hare Krishna Lakshmi Mataji. Thank you so much for joining. So we have a very wonderful discussion that is going on, and that is on chapter 15, the Purushottama Yoga. It's a very, very special chapter, and Krishna is actually volunteering here to discuss something very important with Arjuna, even without him asking the question actually. Right? So before we actually dive into the subject matter, I would like to welcome all of you who have joined today on YouTube as well as StreamYard. Thank you so much for joining. We are in 153rd session of the Bhagavad Gita Study Circle, and we are discussing chapter number 15. So before we actually begin the session, let us chant the pranam mantra like we always do. So kindly join your palms. You can chant along with me the pranam mantras, and let's dedicate this session to His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON and my beloved spiritual master. So kindly join your palms and let's chant the pranam mantra. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyat Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna. So once again, welcome back all of you for the Bhagavad Gita Study Circle. Before we start today's session with the new shloka, today's verse number 3, we had discussed 2 verses in the previous sessions. So let us chant them before we go to the next verse. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Udvamulam Adashyakam Ashwattam Pravuravyayam Kandamsi Yasya Purnani Yastam Vedasa Vedavid. So what did Krishna say in the 15th chapter, first verse? He said that he described about this very unique and a very mysterious Ashwatha tree. There is an Ashwatha tree which has its roots upwards and the branches downwards. Very special tree. And this actually, Ashwatha tree, Ashwatha, we understood that the meaning how it is constantly changing. Ashwatha means that it is constantly changing, right? Avyayam, there is no end to this. It is so constantly changing. Change is the only thing that actually is constant in this world. We have heard it right before. So there is so many things that are constantly changing. There is nothing permanent in this temporary world. Right? What are the leaves of these? The moolam. The moolam is the roots. Who is that moolam? The roots? The God Himself. And the leaves are Sandamsi, the Vedic mantras, the Karma Kanda portions. So many Vedic mantras are there. All those Vedic mantras are the leaves of this Ashwatha tree. And then the branches which represent the 14 planetary system. And we understood what is the difference between the Karma Kanda section, the Jnana Kanda section, right? So how we are not just supposed to actually nourish this tree of Ashwatha, the universal tree, but we are actually supposed to cut off this tree through detachment, right? So that is the
Prabhuji,
first
your
one.
voice is blurred.
स्तोत्रं प्रस्तरास्तस्य शाखा गुणप्रवृद्धविषया प्रबालः अधश्च मूलान् अनुसन्ततानि कर्माणि बन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके. So we understood that how these branches of this tree extend downwards and upwards. Very complicated tree this is. This whole life is very complicated. And how it is nourished? It is nourished by three gunas, the sattva, rajas and tamas. And how there are the buds, the shoots that arise from that, then the secondary branches that come out. So this is how we get, entangled in this samsara vriksha. We understood, right? This is the samsara vriksha that Krishna is actually telling and describing to us. It is a very complicated tree, and we are a part of this samsara vriksha now. So we are nourishing the samsara vriksha. Krishna is saying, stop, enough. Now you have actually cut off this tree, the samsara vriksha, through detachment. Right? So this human form of life actually enables us, gives an opportunity for all of us to actually progress in that specific path. And that is how that we can gain knowledge and perform devotional action so that we can develop detachment within us. Right? So we have understood all of that in the previous verses. You can go back and listen to the sessions, the last two sessions, so that you get a hold of what we are actually speaking in the upcoming verse. So today we will try to discuss the third and the fourth verse, right? So you can let me and Kaushik, both of you can, okay. Kaushik, you can unmute yourself. You joined first today, so let us chant the first verse for today, and that is verse number
Hare Krishna.
3. Okay?
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. How about me? Am I audible? Dave is saying that my voice is not very clear. So,
Hello?
yeah, what about my voice? My voice is clear to all of you? Okay, let's see if our voice. Dave, there
Prabhuji,
is
your
any
voice
problem
is
with your
blurred.
voice button.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry, yeah, your voice is a little bit blurred, Prabhuji.
Okay, let me. Okay, let's go for another 2-3 minutes. If that continues, then I think we can switch on to something else. Okay. All right. So just give me a minute, then. Just give me. Yes. Can you just confirm to me, Dave, now? Confirm. Dave, is it okay now?
Slightly
Okay.
better.
Yes. Kaushik, can you confirm? Is it okay? Okay. Hina Mataji.
Prabhuji, it's still pretty blurry, like pretty blurred.
Okay. Just give me a minute, man. Just give me a minute. Let us
Ah,
fix this before we actually progress.
ah.
Yes. Kaushik, can you just speak out now? Is it okay?
Prabhuji, for me it's still a little bit blurry, but I can hear you a little bit. Um, yeah, it's still not very clear, I think.
Okay, okay, okay. Yes, yes,
I don't
yes.
know about other people on the call, but for me, it's still a little bit blurry.
I just tried something new this today, so I think that's the reason why it is.
Hare Krishna. Okay, let's
Oh,
continue with
much
much better,
better.
I guess.
Uh,
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you for confirming. I was
uh,
just trying to connect with something. All right. Okay.
uh.
Okay.
Okay,
Hope
Prabhuji.
this is fine now. Okay. Let's
No,
continue. Okay.
it's much clearer. Yeah, much very clear.
Okay. So verse number 15.3. Okay, third verse. Narupam asceheya tatopalabhyate
न रूपम् असेहा ततोपलभ्यते
नान्तो च चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा
नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा
अश्वत्थम् एनं विरूढमूलम्
अश्वत्थम्येनं सुविरूढमूलम्
असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा
असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा
Once again, न रूपम् अस्येह ततोपलभ्यते
न रूपम् अस्येह ततोपलभ्यते
नान्तो च चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा
नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा
अश्वत्थम् एनं सुविरूढमूलम्
अश्वत्थम्येनं सुविरूढमूलम्
असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा
असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा
Wonderful. Please read the translation. Okay, let's do the fourth verse also. Let's chant that and then the translation together. Tatapadam tat parimargrittavyam
ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यम्
yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyah
यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः
तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये
तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये
यतः प्रसृता प्रश्यथा पुराणी.
यतः प्रवृत्ते प्रसृता पुराणी
Once again, ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यम्
ततत्पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यम्
यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः
यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः
तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये
तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये
यथा प्रवृत्ति प्रसृता पुराणी.
यथा प्रवर्ति प्रसृता पुराणी
Okay, wonderful. Please read the translation.
Sure. Um, this is a right right stanza, 14.2, Prabhuji?
Looks like it is, but it is the right one. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Sorry,
No,
yeah.
no. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that supreme personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial.
Okay, good. Thank you. Just ignore the top title of it because it was wrongly copied actually, so it didn't reflect here. But the translation is the right one. Okay,
Ah,
so very very interesting. So here in the third and the fourth verse, Krishna is now talking about asanga shastrena dridena chitva. Asanga shastrena. He is trying to talk about the weapon that we are discussing, the weapon of detachment, to cut off this ashwatham enam. So virudha moolam. You can uproot this ashwatha tree, which is very difficult to uproot, but through detachment, asanga, detachment, shastrena dridena chitva, you can actually take this off. Very, very interesting. So, why this whole thing actually begins? Why are we talking about detachment? So, this is a very important subject matter. See, what happens is we all get attached to so many things and attached to something which is not absolute, something which is not we. And that is the beginning of all sufferings and unhappiness in our life. So, what is that real root cause of suffering in human form of life is can be described by something called as the identification theory. Now, what is the identification theory? The identification theory is a theory where A identifies with B and the properties of the B are actually superimposed on A. So that is identification theory. Identification theory means A identifies with B, and because of that identification, the properties of B are rubbed on to the A. And that's exactly what is happening to us. So we all are identifying ourselves with something which we are not. How do we understand this? Now you can sit comfortably and let us watch this movie unfold so that everything becomes very clear. And let us understand this by getting absorbed by watching or getting into a movie. So, just like in a movie theater, what does this mean? In a movie theater, what happens? When you actually go to a movie theater, people there, when they sit in the movie theater, an environment is created where you are totally cut off from the external world, right? And then because the lights are off and there is a perfect audio system that is created, so one type of light is switched off and another type of light is switched on. So you get disconnected from the external world, but there is another projection of light that is happening onto the screen. And when that happens, you or we all of us start identifying ourselves with the characters that are projected on the screen. So whenever the actor or actress become happy, we become happy. When the actor or the actresses are actually morose and they're actually distressed and disturbed and their life is totally in a mess, and we are here crying and sitting in the theater, isn't it? All of this happens to us. Why? Because we have now started identifying with that character on the screen, onto that movie. Isn't it? That is what happens to all of us. We are identifying with that character. So first what happens is there is a complete disconnect from the outside world. So that is what the Maya also does, the external energy of the does. It is called the Avarnatmika Shakti. Avarnatmika Shakti means it completely covers you from the reality. And then what happens is there is Prakshepatmika Shakti. You start identifying yourself with something that you are not. So this is very important. Just like in a movie theater, what is the sin that you have actually created that you are so morose and disturbed and you're crying there? The sin is that you actually got covered. You actually forgot yourself. That is number one. And the second sin that you have committed is that you are trying to identify with someone which you are not. Now, you please let us keep this aside and come to the real world now. And in the real world, what is happening? In the real world, also, what we are trying to do is we are trying to identify ourselves with something or someone which we are not. Because our true identity as consciousness, our true identity as the soul, is now identified with something else which we are not. And we have forgotten our true nature. So first thing is we forgot our true nature, and then the second mistake that we are committing is that we are identifying with something which we are not. I am an Indian, I am a man, I am a woman, I am so and so, I am a big boss. All these different identities we are wearing upon us, and that is the root cause of all the suffering that we are undergoing in this material world. This is the problem that we are actually having. So, what is happening in the movie theater? You enter the movie theater like a master. But when you entered there, you became a slave. What is the reason for us to become a slave? That misidentification. So, this is what is happening right now in the real world that we are here. We are actually trying to be master. We entered because, as a master, because we are Ramsha of Krishna. But then what has happened to us? We have become slaves of whom? The three gunas and our body, our senses. They demand, we supply. They demand, we supply. Eyes want to see something, we supply. Ears want to say something, hear something, we supply. The tongue wants to eat something, we supply. So who is the slave? We are the slaves. We are thinking that we are masters, but we are slaves. Number one, we have forgotten completely our true nature. Our This is the problem. We are identifying with matter, earth, water, fire, air, ether, but we are not this body. We are something else, and this is a big problem that we are actually in. And we are thinking that we'll be happy. The mind is not you. The intelligence is not you. The body, mind, and intelligence is not you. You are different. You are a spirit soul. This Panchabhuta body is nourished by the food that we eat. Even the mind is getting nourished by the food that we eat. Jaisa an vaisa man, we say, right? So the mind gets its energy to think and creates thoughts when we actually put food in our belly. Otherwise, you see, you just do upvas for some time, for 2 days, 3 days, the thoughts will come down automatically. Why? Not because of yoga abhyasa, the thoughts are coming down, but it is because of the food, that no intake of food. That's why the mind will stop thinking. So this is a problem. See, in medical terms, what people think is, for them the consciousness means the mind, but we are not talking about that thing. For us in spiritual life, according to the Vedanta, it is mind is different, consciousness is different, the spirit soul is different. Medical people use consciousness as a state of mind. They say that it's a state of mind, but it is not like that. For spiritual people, for us, the consciousness is nothing to do with the mind. Then what it is? It is Satchidananda. The soul is Sat Chit Ananda. The consciousness which is coming out of, which is a symptom of the soul, it's the absolute existence which is never going to cease. You are actually going to exist all the time. We are infinite in one sense. When compared to matter, we are infinite. And Lord is supremely infinite. Infinite to the degree of infinite is the Lord. But we are infinite when compared to the matter. But what is happening now? We have an existence which never will become non-existence. That is the kind of existence that we have, and that is the spirit soul. Sat means what? Absolute. Chit means what? It is that consciousness. We are aware of everything, aware of this world, right? We are aware of the Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, all these different sense objects. We are aware of these things. Why? Because there is consciousness. The consciousness because of which we are conscious of everything is that spirit soul. That which is ultimate reality is the spirit soul, and that is our connection with God is the ultimate thing. That is the real Ananda Swarupa. When we actually connect ourselves with God, that is the Satchid Ananda can be really fulfilled. So that is the nature of consciousness. It is completely blissful, very, very blissful. It is infinite. There is so much of happiness there. There is so much of peace there. There is infinite contentment there. But we have forgotten that. Why? Because we are identifying with something which is imperfect. We are actually perfect, but we are trying to identify with something which is imperfect. We are immortal, but we are identifying ourselves with something which is mortal. That is our problem. So, in short, what is happening is, although we are very, very perfect, the scriptures are saying, but we are we have lost ourselves by misidentifying with something which we are not. So, this is why we should now become intelligent. We should now come out of this kind of misidentification. And I'm experiencing all this imperfection. Why? Although I am a perfect being, I am experiencing imperfection. Why? Because the body is imperfect, the mind is imperfect, the intelligence is imperfect, and I'm identifying with something that is imperfect. And how can we become really happy when we are actually identifying like this? It's a very deep rooted thing we should understand. Our identification is the root cause. That false ego, that I am this, I am that, is the root cause of all the problems in our life. If you start deducing your problems, no, one by one, you will come to this point, and that point is that misidentification, that false ego to think something that you are not is the root cause of the problem. That is why we should, Krishna is saying in the third word, Asanga Shastrena Dridena Chitva. What is he saying? He is saying that you please cut off that false identification, the root which is actually causing all the miseries in life. Asanga Shastrena Dridena Chitva. So that's why we should get into the truth. We should get into the reality of our existence. If I don't understand my reality, what is the purpose of my life? What is really going to really help me to come out of these problems is this. That's why in the fourth verse also Krishna is going to speak about how we have to disidentify with the unreal world and identify with the real world. That is what we are supposed to do. Krishna is saying in the fourth verse, Tad evam chadyam purusham prapadye yatva pravarthir prahasta purani tatav padam tad परिमार्गितव्यम यस्मिन् गताना निवर्तन्ति भूयाः यथावा प्रवर्तिः प्रष्टाः पुराणी. So he's saying that how the only solution to experience perfection is this, and that is we have to detach ourselves from that which is unreal. That is our true nature. We are actually, in one sense, perfect. We are born perfect. In the sense, what? The soul is never born, the soul is always existing. But the body is imperfect. That is where we are going wrong. Right? Just if you want to go to the movie theater and if you're crying there, if you you want to come out of that crying, you just have to open your mobile, look at some messages, look around and look at the people who are actually crying. What happens to you? You will actually stop crying. Because what happens is you disconnected with the projection that is happening on the screen. You look around a little bit here and there. Then you will actually come out. You will wake up. So what is happening right now? We are so absorbed in thinking that I am, a man, I am a woman, I am such a big person, I am Indian. We are so absorbed in such consciousness. And we are crying. But for a moment, you just come out. What is that coming out? Looking into the mobile. Looking into the mobile means what? We are looking into the Bhagavad Gita. Attending this session is what is happening. By attending the Bhagavad Gita session, we actually come out of that projection. We start looking around. Oh, this devotee, that devotee. Why am I crying looking at the screen? Oh, I'm such a fool. I am crying for something which is worthless. Isn't it? That is why this Bhagavad Gita sessions actually wake us up. They help us to come out of the ignorance, that misidentification. Right? This is very important. This is what Bhagwan Krishna is trying to do. What is he trying to do? He is trying to wake up Arjuna. Hey, stop crying. Arjuna, you're crying for something. All this is which is worthless. Isn't Arjuna was crying, right? So we are also crying in this movie called Samsara movie, right? We have created our own samsara movie and we are crying in this. So foolish of us. Krishna is saying, wake up now. Asanga shastrena dridena chitva. Actually, you see how deep rooted it is. We are actually immortal. We don't want to die. We want to exist all the time. And because I'm not able to fulfill that desire through the body, what is our next thing that people try to do is the next thing that they want to do is because the deep rooted nature of a soul is to be immortal, and it is not possible through the body, but foolishly we think that let me extend the lifespan of the body. I will do yoga. I will do this particular medication, take that medication. There were some foolish doctors who actually wanted in Japan, they wanted to extend the lifespan through some medication. It is not possible. And when people get frustrated, oh, I'm not able to extend the lifespan of my body, but I still want to exist. Why do I want to exist? I will exist because I want to give some donation to a temple, and there my name will be there on the nameplate. Oh, this person has contributed so much, and so people go and do that, right? They want their name to be there. Even if I don't exist, my name will exist on the temple. And where the name will exist, sometimes that will be on the fan. And when the fan, they read the name of that person and the fan is rotating, people can't even see that name that is written there. People want to give the tube light and non-tube light, they will write the name, oh, this is dual. And when the light is on, people actually, it is blocking the light. What is the use of such donation? People want to remain in this world through their name. No, I don't want my name. I will have lot of children, and through my children I will exist. I will not be there, but let me have a lot of children, and my children will exist. That is my existence. You see how we want to continue our existence. Why? Because as a soul, we want to exist. We actually exist. But our identification with the body is making it temporary. And that is why we are trying to exist continuously through this so many varieties of things. My name, my children. I want to exist this way. This is a wrong way of leading a life. This is a problem. We are immortal, but we want to be immortal in this mortal body. That is a problem. That is what we are not trying to understand. We are so much getting absorbed in these varieties of things that this body is asking that we have forgotten the true nature. So it is important that we wake up, we see our true nature. Don't get absorbed in this samsara movie. And sometimes in the movie theater, when we go, there'll be some comedy, there'll be some thriller, there'll be some sort of joy. But in this samsara movie, it's just going to end up in tragedy. Only the god of death will have the last laugh in this samsara movie. We will only be suffering here. That's why let us not try to gain anything through this material world. Please understand, we are constantly trying to get something for, uh, you know, material gains. I don't have this, let me gain that. We always are running after the water which is coming out of the mirage, that false water that is being uh, there in this desert, this material world. We are running after that kind of a happiness. You gain something, moment you get it, that happiness is gone. A new mobile phone comes, it looks very beautiful on the shelf in the store. It looks, oh yes, I really want it. I such a wonderful phone. It looks very appealing to you. It is so attractive. You get so absorbed. And it looks very, very attractive as long as it is there on the shelf. Moment you get that phone in your hand, oh, it loses all that dullness, that excitement, and that attraction. And you see another phone on the shelf there, and you feel, oh, wish I had that. But I have only this much money. You get something, and the next moment you get it, you feel, oh, I should have had something else. I'm not happy because, oh, I'm not married. Let me get married. I'll be happy. I get married, oh, I'm still not happy. Oh, because I don't have children. Oh, let me have children. Oh, I have children, but I'm still not happy. and so on and so on. We go on looking for happiness, but we get frustrated. Why? The root cause of that misidentification of our true self. Such a grave sin that we have created. खुद के पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मारना बोलते ना, दैट इज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग विद अस. अपने पैर पे खुद हम लोग कुल्हाड़ी मार रहे हैं और स्टिल वी आर थिंकिंग दैट, ओ लेट मी एंजॉय. दैट इज फुलिशनेस. We want happiness, but we are looking for it in a wrong direction. And that is very, very unfortunate. So we should come out of this moment. We should realize that I'm not meant for this. People are looking for so many newer things. They are in the middle of a city in a 2 BHK home. They're really happy. That's fine. But now they have children and they want, oh no, let me have a 4 BHK home. They go to the 4 BHK home. Then they feel, oh, I'm in the middle of the city. There is so much of noise here. Let me go out of the city, somewhere deep in the jungle, and they have a big bungalow. And then they go there, they start living there. And after a few years, they see that, oh, my children have all gone to UK and US. And then I'm here, we just two of us maintaining such a big house is not really worth. Let us sell this off and go back to that 4 BHK home. Because from the city, it's so difficult. Any medical access we want, anything that we want, we have to drive such a long distance. Let me go back to the city again, live into the 4 BHK home. But since my children are not there, oh, it is so difficult to maintain. Let me go back to the 2 BHK home. I am leading my life, changing home after home after home. People just continuously change one home to another home. Their whole life, they're only changing homes, thinking that I'll be happy. Some people, they change cars. Some people these days, they change even husbands and wives, thinking that, oh, maybe this person will make me, this husband will make me happy. Oh, no, he's not making me happy. Maybe that wife will make me happy. Oh, she's not making me happy. Let me go to another one. And we are constantly changing partners all throughout our life. There are people who are getting married at 80 and 90 also. Why? Because there is that quest for happiness, but we are looking it in a wrong direction, and that is a big problem. All happening because of that misidentification. Such a wrong thing that we are doing. Such a wrong thing. This is all because of that false ego that we have developed. That false ego that, yes, I can be happy in this world. It's a trap. It is a trap. The best example, I'll tell you a story. There was this person. His name was Shivanna. He was doing some menial service in a temple. His only service in the temple was during the Mangalarti, go and ring the bell. That is his service. And that temple was attracting a lot of crowd now. There were a lot of foreign visitors. They used to come and they used to actually, attend the artis. And then the temple management decided that yes, the staff in the temple should also know and learn a little bit of English. So they started learning English. Some of them, but this Shivanna could not cope up with English. So he was said, okay, since you cannot understand and cope up with English, you please leave. Your job is gone. So what to do now? Shivanna, very morose guy, he stepped out of the temple, going outside. He was very exhausted now. And as he was exhausted, he thought, okay, let me go and drink a cup of tea. And he goes outside of the temple and he sees there is no hotel or anything that he can just have a cup of tea, nothing. What to do now? So he got an idea, okay, there is no hotel nearby. Let me actually, start selling some tea here. So he got a little container, little bit of tea powder and all of that, and little kerosene stove that he had, a little cart. He made some arrangement and he put up a board there called tea, and people started coming out and started having tea. A lot of people coming out there of the temple because they had no other hotel, so they started having a tea there. So he started making some money. Then he thought, okay, why not just tea? Because people also with tea, they would like to have some biscuits or cookies or something like that. So he started keeping that. People started liking it. He thought, why only this? Let me have a little breakfast and something like that so that people can eat. So he told his wife, who was a very good cook. So she came into the picture now, and she also started cooking some upma chutney and all of that. And then very nice people coming more and more. He thought that, okay, now such a thing is happening, people are coming, I should give some comfort to them. So he bought some big, big umbrellas and put up there like a tent, and people started coming even more because he gave them comfort. Now he thought that, oh, there is so much that is happening. I'm not able to manage it alone because I have to maintain the accounts. My wife is also very busy with the cooking and cleaning the vessels and pots and everything. Of all these things that are happening, I cannot maintain. I think it's better that if I have a proper hotel. So he goes, finds a plot and nearby, and then builds up a nice hotel. And then he calls all his relatives who were unemployed. He tells all the children who were unemployed in his family, he called all of them. He told, see, we are going to do a very serious business. You all should get involved. The main thing, the very most important thing of any, especially the hotel business, is that we have to give very hygienic food. Our hotel should be very clean and we should give good service. So they all got trained nicely through him. People started coming more and more. Now he became a very big name. Anybody who would say that, oh, if you want to go to hotel, you should go to that particular hotel. If that temple, then that hotel is very important. You should eat idli dosa there. So he kept a name, Hotel Shivanna. And Hotel Shivanna became very big name now. So now when this became, he became so famous, another person from another different town came and told, I see that you have become so popular here. Your hotel is so nice. You do everything so nicely. I have a plot in my town. I give you the plot. You take up, you build a hotel, and we will become partners. Shivanna said, very nice, wonderful. So they became partners. So now through this, they became even more richer. Then he started having his hotels in all the major cities, in all the prominent places. So it now became a chain group of hotels. Hotel Shivanna became a group of hotels now. A very, very big. Shivanna became a very big hotel business guy, a magnate, a business magnate, having a chain group of hotels in all the major cities across India. So that is how his popularity became. And then this Shivanna, it did not end here. He said that he thought that when people come to my hotel, I have a very good hotels in all the prominent places in the city. People want food and also accommodation. Let me build or convert my hotels into seven-star hotels. So he got all these architects and everybody, and they said, yes, sir, you can actually very nicely build your business to the next level because you are going to give them a seven-star experience. They all got into, pitched into, and then built seven-star hotels across India in all the prominent hotels. Now he earned in crores and crores. He has unlimited money now, so much of money. And so much of money when they made, people from different countries, they started approaching him and saying, we heard about you so much. This Hotel Shivanna should not just be in India, but it should also be in the outside world. And then he started signing up for contracts and building hotels, Shivanna, in other countries. And they said, the delegates, foreign delegates, they came, sir, please sign. And this little Shivanna, he said, he bought his ink pad, took his anguta, and then he was anguta chap. He didn't even know how to sign. And then he put his punch over there, thumb impression. The foreign delegate said, what, sir? You, without even knowing English, read and writing or speak English, if you can actually make such a big business, what would happen if you would actually know English? So Shivanna said, if I would know English and I learned English, I would have still be ringing the bell in the temple. You see, I can just go on. And now it doesn't end here. Shivanna was not just going to be a hotel, uh, into hotel business. Now there are people who came and told him, see, education is now a big thing. People want international schools. Children want to be sent to international schools because parents want to bloat up their egos that my child is going to international school. Why don't you have international school? Now, these days, international schools can be in just 30, 40 plot. You build a building, and if you have an influence with the minister, the educational minister, you can build an international school with just a little influence, and that Shivanna had. And he built international schools. Now he had Shivanna institutes. It became such a big thing. Later on, people came and told him, now, why don't you just educational? You're already into education and hotel business. There are a lot of people actually going to hospital. Why don't you open hospitals? So he went and thought about it, because there are so many people earlier were going to hospital because of malnutrition, but these days in modern times people are going to hospital because of overnutrition. So you need to have a lot of hospitals. So he started creating big hospitals. Now Shivarna group of hospitals came up. You see? And not just this, now, he became so big with hotels, with educational institutions, with medical hospitals. The chief minister of the state came and approached him, Shivarna, why don't you join my party? You become a politician because we need funds and you are such a popular person. People know you, people will like you. Why don't you join? He joined a political party. And then later on, there was a rift between the chief minister and Shivarna. People said, why don't you start your own party? He started his own party, Shivarna party. And one fine day, when he became a politician, he was going on a car, and then in his car, in a very big, wonderful, sophisticated car, he was going, and there was a truck which came and hit him, and Shivanna died. Now, I could have gone on and on like a mega serial. This story could have continued for 1 year or so, but I want to end my session also. So, but the point here is how we get caught up in this samsara sagara. Does this mean, Prabhuji, that we should not work? We should not build big things? No, Prabhupada did. Prabhupada did such a big thing, build such a big organization. But like Shivanna, he was doing all these things because he was looking for happiness. He was doing all this because he was looking for happiness. Prabhupada did all these things because he was doing this out of happiness. So there is a difference. Prabhupada doing and Shivana doing is there's a lot of difference. Some people are doing this because they want happiness, but Prabhupada did and built such a big organization out of happiness because he was already happy. That is the difference. And this is what we should know, and we should try to understand that we are so foolish to look for happiness in this material world. What are we doing? Building and complicating our life, building this samsara vriksha. It is just getting its roots up and down, and we're getting entangled. We're getting caught up with this. This is not the story of Shivarna. This is our own stories. This is our own story. Please understand. When do we actually get out of this place? We should take a call right now. We should take it now, before it is too late. Right? What happened to this Shivarna? You see, earlier he was a poor, miserable man. Later he became a rich, miserable man. Earlier he was a infamous, miserable man. Later he became a famous, miserable man. Earlier he was a miserable man without any luxuries. Later he became a miserable man with luxuries. The problem is we are continuing to be miserable. And we are working hard so much for all these things just to be miserable again. Just by changing certain conditions around us, we cannot be happy. So we should question ourselves, what am I doing? Am I going somewhere wrong? Just by being creative in creating some wonderful luxuries around us, we cannot be happy. Please understand. Just like in a movie theater, we should look at it, okay, theek hai, I'll enjoy, but I'm not a part of it. See, when we are watching a movie also, when you're crying also, there are two parts. One part of your mind which is identifying with the movie and the character. And there is another part also where you know in reality that I am not that. There's one part of your mind which says that, yes, I'm not the actor. Somewhere you're conscious of that. To make you conscious of that, yes, I'm not this person. I'm not this identity, is what we are having this. This is unreal. Because somewhere deep within, we all know that we are in this unreal world, this temporary world. I don't say unreal, this temporary world, because this world is real, but it is a temporary world. I'm identifying with something which is temporary. So I should question myself now. How do I get out of this? Asanga shastrena dridena chitva. I should detach myself. I should not identify myself with these thoughts. I should create an environment which can actually make me more devotional, right? I should not identify with my mind, body, and intelligence. That is not what I'm meant here for. We should have a prayer that, yes, my Lord, you please best give me the strength to follow the path of Dharma so that I can come out of this misidentifications. I'm not a mixture of all this body, mind, and intelligence. I'm a true consciousness. I'm a pure Satchidananda spirit soul. And I want to be there with you, oh my Lord. I want to be the servant of you, oh my Lord. Because that's my true nature, to be a servant of Krishna. That is our true identity. And how do I get to that true identity? By chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. When we chant Hare Krishna mantra seriously, with full love and devotion, then automatically we start getting into that mood of meditation. We need to actually perform Bhakti Yoga, that Karma Yoga in action, Karma Yoga with Bhakti. Then our false ego will turn into true ego. That happens with meditation, and that is mantra meditation. We all want to be happy deeply, right? So let us follow the path of dharma, and that is very, very essential. We need to establish our relationship and strengthen that relationship with Krishna instead of strengthening our relationship with all these material things and objects and people. We should strengthen our relationship with Krishna. That relationship is what will make us very happy, truly. Right now, we are only doing something which is our mind telling us, but that is not true. We should do that which Krishna is asking us to do. Like Arjuna agreed later on, oh my Lord, yes, Karishye Vachanam Tava. I will do whatever you say. I should reach to that point. We should reach to that point that, my Lord, I will do everything that you say. It is a slow process. It is a process, it is a slow process, but we can actually attain that process when we follow the instructions of a guru, and that is spiritual master, our Prabhupada. We will definitely come to that point. Under guidance, with proper guidance, we can reach to that point. Otherwise, we'll be caught up. We want to lead a happy life. We all want to be leading a very happy life. We want good relationships. We want to be happy in every situation. And that is possible only when we actually identify our true nature. Right? So we are very, very blissful. We should learn, we should take that first step of trying to make our mind to have that attitude of love and devotion in our mind. That's very important. We should create that environment in our mind. It's very important. We should have our heart filled with all kinds of emotions for the Lord, because this body is meant to be an instrument in the hands of the Lord. When we know I am a servant, I become an instrument of Lord. Instead of saying that I did this, I did that, I'm such a great person, when you actually know that I am the servant of God, which is your true nature, then your heart will be filled with love and devotion. Our heart will be filled with immortality. Our heart will filled with lot of strength, because that is coming from the path of dharma. Our consciousness will become very, very pure with no negative thoughts. When you develop this humility that I'm nothing, actually, God is doing everything through me, that humility will help us actually to come out of this samsara. Right now, I am a samsari, but when I actually detach myself from this samsara, I will become a sannyasi, not a samsari. So that is a liberated soul. That is a Mahatma. So Krishna wants all of us to become actually to attain that state of Mahatma. Mahatma is one who is a self-realized sadhu, whose lifestyle is very, very simple, but his thinking is very, very high. So we should reach that state of pure consciousness, that state that I want to be the servant of God always. And everything that is happening through the energy of the Lord. And I'm just an instrument. I'm just an instrument, nothing else. Okay? So there are many more things to experience. Krishna is talking about this. Why all these analogies we have to share so that we understand what is our true position. Hope you're getting the point, right? So if you have any questions, please, you can be open with the questions now. We are open for questions. Any questions? Anything that you want to ask, anything that you want to share, any comments? Right? So this is what happens. Last time also, Lakshmi Mataji was asking, right? It is so difficult sometimes being in a family, dealing with people. It might actually take us to a very chaotic situation sometimes. You have to deal with so many minds. But the intelligent way of dealing with everything is to deal with our own mind, because we cannot really control people's mind. If we can deal with our own mind, you will see a lot of things becoming clear to you, crystal clear in our brain. Everything becomes very crystal clear when we actually start seeing ourselves, our own mind. Because people, what they think about you is not in your control. What we are supposed to really think is, what am I? Who am I? What is my mind thinking? If you can really absorb yourself like this, our mind will become crystal clear. And actually, when that becomes, you don't have to worry about anything else. You will get automatically what you are supposed to get. It is automatic. Instead of individually trying to address each and every problem in our life, it is better that actually we fix our own mind. It is much better. Right? There was this uh, person, he went to the doctor and he said, pain all over my body. Doctor, okay, checked it. And then, do you really have problem? Yes, I really have a problem. Touch your hand. Is it paining? Yes, it's paining. Touch your leg. Is it paining? Yes, my leg is also paining. Touch your head. Is it paining? Yeah, my head is also paining. Touch your nose. Is it paining? Yes, my nose is also paining. The doctor said the problem is that you don't have pain in your head, your hands, or legs. The pain is in your finger, because wherever you touch, you are experiencing pain, because the pain is only in the finger. You know what? In our life also, the pain is not outside. The problems are not outside. The problem is, oh Prabhu, I go to this home, there is a problem. I go and meet this person, my neighbor, I have some problem. I go to the school, I have a problem. I go to the college, I have a problem. I go to office, I have a problem. The problem is not in the office. The problem is not at home. The problem is not with the neighbor. The problem is not with my mother-in-law, or sister-in-law, or brother-in-law. The problem is in our own mind. And I need to sort that out. Right? This is the problem. Any questions? Any question? Devotees who are listening on YouTube, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask questions. You can leave your questions in the comment box. I can take those questions also. So, any questions? So you see, looks like there is some sense of realization coming in. There is some sense of self contemplation that is happening right now. And I really wish that happens, because when we actually start analyzing things, when we start looking inwards, then we will start actually believing that there is so much of happiness inside. You should start look inside. Otherwise, as long as we don't really look at that happiness which is inside, we will be looking out for happiness in the outside world. So this is the time that we actually bring in that happiness from within and not from outside. Any questions, please? Vinodji, Hinamada ji, any questions? Anything that you want to ask? Any comments? Devotees on YouTube, any questions?
Prabhuji, in one of the verses, I
Yes.
did Lord Krishna say to Arjun that your mind is your friend or your enemy?
Yes, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says actually that this very same mind that we have can be a friend or it can be an enemy. Just like a knife. A knife, it's neither good or bad. But a knife in a hand of a criminal, it can take life. But the same knife in a hand of a doctor can save life. The knife is the same, but how we utilize that mind is in our hand. It's our choice. So it's the instrument.
So,
Knife is the instrument. So mind is like an instrument. How we use it, it depends on us.
so Prabhuji, I actually that day I was thinking that supposing now there is something which comes to my mind, so I raise the question and I only answer the question. So sometimes I was thinking what we called as we are pure souls or pure consciousness. So when there are these two things talking in my mind, who is telling whom? Like, for example, supposing I am trying to say something, and then the second thought is, no, 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 this is not the way to do it, some other. So I'm asking the question, I'm getting the answer. So that day I was thinking that which one is the real me? The one who's asking the question or one who's answering the question? Because there were two diverse thoughts that were coming to me. So I was not able to understand which is the real me.
Yes. Actually, there are multiple voices within us right now. You see, there are different levels of existence. We have a physical existence, we have a subtle existence, and we have a spiritual existence. So, the mind, the subtle existence has the mind, intelligence, and the false ego, right? So, subtle body has mind, intelligence, and false ego. So, the mind actually tells you that you are this, you are that. But then there is intelligence also which speaks to you. The mind is also speaking, the intelligence also speaks. Mind continuously generates thoughts. Continuously. The function of the mind is to generate thoughts. Intelligence, it actually, the function of the intelligence is to discriminate what is right thought, what is wrong thought. That is the function of the intelligence. So there is a voice coming from your mind, there is a voice coming from your intelligence saying, mind is saying, do this, do that. Intelligence saying, no, no, that is not right, that is not right, that is wrong. This is dharma, this is adharma. The intelligence is speaking to you. So the intelligence is speaking because you're feeding the intelligence. How are you feeding this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita? Because in the Bhagavad Gita, what is happening? You're gaining knowledge. This knowledge is actually feeding that intelligence. And because the intelligence is now nourished nicely or getting nourished nicely, the intelligence is speaking. Oh, yes, mind, you are generating a lot of thoughts. Good. But the problem is, this is not right. You listen to me. And mind has to listen because intelligence is very strong. But in most people today, because they don't really understand the scriptures, they don't attend any spiritual discourses or anything like that, the intelligence is weak. And they just follow whatever the mind speaks. So there is one mind which is speaking, there is one intelligence which is speaking, right? We have to strengthen our intelligence. But then above this mind and intelligence, there is something called as the soul, the true ego, which makes the choice. Ultimately, the intelligence may say something, the mind may speak something, but the choice is made by the soul. We make choices, and that choice results in action ultimately. Because when we as a spirit soul make a choice which is higher than the intelligence say, अरे मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ अभी ऊपर से order आ रहा है, I should listen to the soul. The intelligence will say, next mind, just listen to what I say now. Because my intelligence is stronger than the mind, the intelligence will direct the mind. Mind will say, oh, see, the order is coming from the top. You, senses, eyes, ears, nose, touch everything, you follow the instructions. And then they follow the instruction and we perform action. See, based on the choice, the power of choice, that is what the soul has. The power to make a choice is with the soul. And when we make that choice, that drives everything. That drives our actions. That drives our thinking patterns. You're getting the point? So, this is how we should train ourselves by strengthening our intelligence, our buddhi, through attending Bhagavad Gita classes. We strengthen our buddhi and we actually, in turn, help the soul also to make the right choices. When we make a right choice, we make the right decision, and that decision drives our action. That karma, in turn, gives us the reaction. That fruit of action is either bad, good, or whatever it is. A spiritual action will result in spiritual reaction, and that's exactly what we are here for. We want to act in a spiritual way, so that we get the result which is spiritual, right? So this is how there are multiple things speaking within you. There is yourself, the true nature, the self, the soul is speaking to you within, and there is a mind also which is speaking. So we should be aware. Now, what is right, what is wrong? How do we decide? You listen to the intelligence sometime. You listen because, oh yes, what Krishna is saying, we should use our intelligence. Bhagavad Gita says yes, this. Prabhuji has told, okay, in the session, this we have to do, that we have to do. This is right, this is wrong. Okay, let's do that. What is right, we will do it. So then, whenever we have a question, just depend on Bhagavad Gita. You ask the question back to Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavad Gita will give you the answers. Because Bhagavad Gita has all the answers for all your questions. So the best way is to listen to the sadhu, shastra, and guru. When we listen to sadhu, shastra, and guru, automatically we get the right answers in our life, and we don't have to depend on anything else. So that is why our life will become very, very simple and less complicated when we just follow the words of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita will give you the straight answers for all the doubts that you have. And we make our life very simplified. Our life will become very simplified when we hear Bhagavad Gita every day properly and understand it properly. And then apply that knowledge in our life. And you see the happiness coming into your life. And we all want to be happy, right? That's exactly what we are here for. We all want to be happy and truly be happy. So this is the solution. This is the wonderful solution that Krishna has given to all of us. Listen to what Bhagavad Gita says. Listen to what Krishna says. Don't listen to the mind. But for
Yes,
that, we
Prabhu.
should strengthen. We should strengthen. So you should strengthen your mind and intelligence. That chariot example, the best way to understand is the chariot example. If you have
Yes,
remember the chariot example, the five horses, then the
yes.
reins, the driver, and the soul. If you remember that example, you know who is speaking. So the
Yes,
best
Prabhuji.
way to control everything is make the driver very strong, the buddhi very strong. For that, you have to feed the buddhi, the driver, very nicely with the spiritual knowledge. He becomes strong.
So, and Prabhuji, whatever choices the soul makes, are they based on our past patterns of our previous lives?
No, it is very
Like what
dynamic.
we have come with, like from our previous lives, our habits, they have got
Yes.
ingrained in the soul, and then that's why we make those choices. Because some people make very good choices from the very beginning of their life. Some people make bad choices and they learn from mistakes in this life, and then they become like sort of then they become intelligent, and then they become but they make better choices. So is that because of our past patterns that we have been carrying?
Definitely, there are certain vasanas which is there in our consciousness, which we carry from the past. There are certain vasanas, and those vasanas are there, and they actually drive our actions. That is very much true, because in this life also we make certain choices and decisions based on our previous vasanas, and in this life also we have created some vasanas based on the free will that we have. So, actually, what we are supposed to do now is we have some good vasanas in us, some bad vasanas in us. Krishna is saying you create some spiritual vasanas in you. So, when you create spiritual vasanas, then that means patterns, spiritual habits. Then automatically, what happens is all these good, bad, and ugly things which are there in our consciousness, the good, bad, ugly vasanas which are there in our consciousness, will be destroyed, will be burned, right? So there is something of the past for sure, definitely. That's why we make certain choices in this life also. But when we start getting the reference of the Bhagavad Gita, and you start referring every action of yours through the Bhagavad Gita, then you know, oh, Bhagavad Gita is the topmost thing. Let me see if I'm doing the right thing or not. Oh, this is my old pattern. I need to break this pattern because this is not syncing with what Krishna is saying. So I need to break this pattern, this previous vasana which is there in my consciousness. So now, how do I break this previous vasana? Through knowledge, through action in bhakti. So when I start doing bhakti towards Krishna, when I start chanting Hare Krishna mantra, automatically what is happening is asanga shastrena you use that sword of knowledge and you cut off these vasanas, unwanted things. And simultaneously, what you're doing, you are actually developing new spiritual vasanas, spiritual habits. Old habits are getting cut off, new habits are getting formed. And slowly your consciousness is becoming more and more pure. So if we can come to a point in this very lifetime where our whole consciousness becomes a spiritual consciousness in other ways, which is called a Krishna consciousness, when you become fully aware of Krishna consciousness or aware of Krishna, then automatically we can not just get out of the wrong habits, but we are going to completely end our human form of life, and this can be our last death. We are not going to die anymore. We have died many times previously, but this can be our last death if we can become fully Krishna conscious. And that is the goal. That is our goal, actually. The only purpose of actually discussing all this subject matter is also this very fact that I want to die for the very last time. I don't want to die again. Why I am not going to die again? Because I don't want to take birth again. Birth means death, but I don't want to take birth again. This should be my last death. So if we can actually cut off all these previous vasanas, it is very much possible, because Krishna is saying, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksheshyami ma suchaha. When we will do that, when Krishna is going to do that, he is going to make us free from all papaha and give us moksha only when sarva dharman paritajya mamekam sharanam raja. When we completely, sarva dharman means what? When you give up, renounce all the false identification. Sarva dharma means what? Dharma means what? I have a dharma of pati dharma, patni dharma, desha dharma, that dharma. All these are identifications, right? Krishna is saying, when you give up all your false identification, sarva dharma paritajya, mam ekam sharanam raja, sarva papebhyo mokshashyami mahasuja. This is the real life. This is what we are ultimately looking for. We want to be with Krishna in spiritual world. Getting the point? So how Krishna is promising that he can actually cut off all the things which are driving your choices right now. The past things which are driving your choices can be changed. We have the free will, provided we follow what Krishna says, and instructions of the Krishna can guide us and take out of all the past misdeeds and make us pure again. That is what Krishna wants, and that is why he is speaking the Bhagavad Gita, so we can become pure and come and go back to him. Getting the point?
Yes, Prabhuji.
The soul always has the choice to make. He has that power to make a choice. We all have the power to make a choice. But now I'm making a choice to be independent of Krishna, but I should make a choice to be with Krishna. All our problems will be solved. That's the only choice that we are supposed to make. The only thing that I'm supposed to renounce is to renounce that false identification with matter. Everything will be all right. Wonderful. Thank you for those nice questions that you asked, and I really appreciate that. Was actually, in one way, it is very important also. When you actually ask questions, you can extract something which is there from my mind also, and it makes me also think. So something that is there, you can extract that. Same way, when we have asking questions, nice questions, spiritual questions, you will not just remain at what I speak, but you also try to get things that are there in my consciousness to the level that I know, right? So it is good when we ask questions, you are actually helping yourself and helping me also, because I am also thinking what to say, right? So it's a win-win for all of us. So very nice. So thank you so much, Kaushik, for joining, Hira Mataji, Vinodji, and all the listeners on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. We are going to continue our discussion, because now Krishna has only told about the problem about this Ashwatha tree. In the next upcoming verses, he's also going to talk about the experiences. Oh, the problems of the mind are there, but how to actually deal with the mind and how to practice spiritual life. All that will come in the upcoming verses. So don't miss out. Join us again the next Sunday, the very same time, and we'll discuss something very important. Okay, tomorrow is Balram Jayanti. So tomorrow is Raksha Bandhan also. So a very happy Balram Jayanti to all of you. So please take care, and we'll see you again next Sunday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.